You had a chance to be someone. Now you're just like everyone else, apologizing, never complain, never explain. What a chicken move by this guy. He could have been something. Think about it. He could have been somebody, a contender. He's just another wimpy liberal. He caught mega hell from crazy people. Who could possibly be worth your time to apologize to that was offended? Explaining is nonsense. Everybody should abide by. Never complain, never explain, particularly in this era. Explaining is nonsense. You want to complain, fine, but nobody's listening. What do they say? People, 90% of them don't care about your troubles, and the other, 5-10% are glad you have them? Nobody cares, but certainly don't ever apologize to the BS masses out there that are bitching, whining, and moaning about literally everything, particularly with their Trump derangement syndrome. They can't wait. Amon-Ra St. Brown did the Trump dance. Ooh, after he scored a touchdown, pointed up to the president. And he caught a lot of hell. He did. He caught mega hell from crazy people. Why would anybody care about crazy people? You laugh at crazy people. You scoff at crazy people. Yeah, you just do. I'm sorry. It's the way it goes. But the truth of the matter is simply this. Amon-Ra St. Brown felt a little heat. The purple-haired, liberal, crazy-ass white women are after him. The little guys, Antifa guys with the face masks are after him. And for some reason, he felt the need to apologize to people that were offended by his Trump dance. What a chicken shit move by this guy. He could have been something. Think about it. Why do you think Stephen A. Smith has taken off? He's not on game day. He's not on NBA Countdown. They had to get him off of there or get his show off of there. It was so bad. He's not on the set of ESPN's Major League Baseball hockey coverage. He can't be on Monday Night Football because he ruins it. So what does he do? Well, he's a useful idiot. You can put him on Fox. You can put him on politics. Why? Because he hasn't shown the propensity of others to be in love with party. A Democratic Party that has destroyed the lives of so many African Americans, but Stephen A. Smith and others are smart enough to see it. He could have been that, Amon-Ra St. Brown. He could have been a beacon, a useful idiot. But he chose to apologize to the stone cold idiots. And there is never a reason to do that. He could have been somebody, a contender. And now he's just another wimpy ass liberal that bowed to the party, Orwellian style. Here's Amon-Ra St. Brown apologizing because he did a Trump dance and pointed at Donald Trump. Here's St. Brown apologizing. Here he goes.
Let's address the elephant in the room. After your touchdown, nice play, by the way. Nice, drop step or cut up field slice. But you had a touchdown celebration. Talk about it.
Yeah, so first of all, if I offended anyone, I do apologize. I did not mean to offend anyone. It was just, we're having fun. If any president was at that game, if they had a dance, I would have done it. Had nothing to do with who the president was. But even after the game, I found out, someone told me that was the first game that a president has been to in over 40 years. So first regular season game, which is crazy. So we were just having fun doing the dance. It was, nothing more, nothing less. Just quick shimmy, whatever you call it.
A little fun. Nothing serious. Nothing political. Just
doing
a little dance.
Yeah. Don't apologize. I apologize. Who could possibly be worth your time to apologize to that was offended? Like, who could possibly? No grown adult, Democrat or Republican. No grown male, no female. No immigrant, no long time. Nobody that has anything at all going for them could possibly have been offended. You are apologizing to the worst among us. And that is not what you are to do. We are to raise the level of thought. We are to raise the level of people. That's what we're put on this earth for. Not to lower the level. We are to raise people up from their stupidity. We are not to wallow, or as Matt Painter famously said about losing to a 16 seed, we are not to sit in their stupidity, their ignorance, their insecurity. No. We are to raise them up. That's what we do on this show. Of course we get criticized, but who cares? Who cares? Don't matter. Long story short, don't lower your standards to them. There is not one single person worth their salt that was offended by that. In fact, and I always go to Harvard University on this, the little girls of Harvard and the little boys are offended by everything. The parents that send them there, I went to Harvard every weekend to watch softball, they're all conservative. They're all Trump guys, and their kids will be too. So you're apologizing to the little minions. Never, ever. As Outkick has argued during both the Trump and, this is Bobby Barack, Trump and Biden administration, acknowledging the president of the United States is not partisan or even political. It would have been if St. Brown had performed the gesture in support of protest of a specific policy. He did. He did a dance that people perform for no other reason than it's fun, goofy, trendy. Only those suffering from TDS see the dance as anything more. Likewise, we defended Pat McAfee interviewing Trump this week on air for Veterans Day. Interviewing the president about sports and veterans is not a political act. Shilling or criticizing the president, neither of which McAfee did, would be. That's right. That's exactly right. I mean, nobody thought anything political. They just thought you were dancing, and maybe they thought you were in support of the president. How does that offend? I mean, if you truly love our country, then you support the president. You hope the president wins. That is not the liberal agenda. They try and do everything they can to circumvent this president, and that's wrong. It was wrong when Republicans tried to do it as well, but less wrong because Biden's policies, mostly the immigration policies, literally crippling our nation, making it more dangerous. As I've said, even on our street, the loosening of the policies on my street led to cartel members who have since been caught and arrested breaking into homes. Now, that's bad. That needs to be stood up to. But the truth of the matter is, never complain and never explain. That's good advice. And boy, did you miss an opportunity. Back to that. Man, oh man. Imagine being an African-American football player of some note. And you say to everybody that's mad at you, I'm not apologizing for nothing. I did a dance. I would have done it if the president were anybody, anytime, anywhere, and had a dance. But I'm certainly not apologizing for doing it. We've raised women. No, that's back up. Women are way tougher than men. We have raised wimps. We have raised wimpy-ass men. Women, I've said it forever, are more interesting. If you shut up and listen, Sean, women are tougher. There's no chance I could give birth to anything other than a big old dump around 7:30 in the morning. They're just tougher. Men now are the biggest wimps out there. Somebody with blue hair got offended. Little fat Benny Koo from Awful Announcing wrote an article. Bite me. Hey, this episode is brought to you by our friends at Prize Picks. You and I make decisions every single day, but on Prize Picks, being right's going to get you paid. I'm going to give you one here. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on Prize Pick, where it's good to be right. Prize Pick's simple to play. Just pick more or less on a 2 to 6 player stat projection. If you get your picks right, you cash in. You can win up to 2,000 times your money. Prize Picks also offers injury reboots. If one of your players leaves the game in the first half, doesn't return, Prize Picks won't count it as a loss. Prize Picks the best place to win cash while watching sports. Join millions of users and sign up today. Here's my 2 picks. And usually I bet $20. This one I bet $50 to win like 70. Trevor Lawrence, more than 1 touchdown pass. I think he's going to throw a touchdown pass. And Jameis Winston, who has been announced as the starter over Russell Wilson, to throw a touchdown pass. That's what over 0.5 means. I think both of those are going to nail it. I am putting my money where our mouth is on Prize Picks. I'm going more. I'm going less. I love it. You should too. It's fun. You guys down there in Georgia, Texas, California, where you don't have legalized gambling, you can put your money where your mouth is on Prize Picks. Stat projections. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use code DAKICH. Get $50 in lineups when you play your first $5 lineup. That's code DAKICH to get 50 in lineups when you play your first $5 lineups. Prize Pick. It's good to be right. Let's go to the tote board, boys. Let's go. Who's where? I'm kicking ass on this thing. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm up 1,000. No, everybody else, all right, Clay's up a little bit, 700. The boys on Hot Mic suck. Ricky's doing okay. But, yeah, I've told you. I mean, I've almost guaranteed to pay people off if they can prove that they made the bet, which is very easy. I said almost. Almost. I'm not paying you clowns off. I'm giving you good bets. They're going to win this week. I put a little extra sauce on it this week. I don't know why. I just felt it. Hey, we talked about apologizing with Amon-Ra St. Brown. We got another wide receiver that isn't apologizing for squat. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is Eagles diva A.J. Brown. Old Applejacks, he's the wide receiver. He now is voicing frustration. Even though they're winning, that doesn't matter to the diva wide receiver. Give me the damn ball. As Keyshawn Johnson said, that's right. I don't care that we're winning. I've already won a Super Bowl. Now it's time to get mine, A.J. Brown says. He's frustrated. Limited touches, regular occurrence, which means what? He's going to be yapping. This past week was no exception, but he took things a step farther in a way that caught our attention while streaming a game of Madden on Twitch with popular screen, I don't understand this world, janky rando. Brown told viewers that everything is a shit show right now. Here's A.J. Brown talking about his team, which is like 7-2. These dudes, they give me gas. I lift a cheek to you, A.J. Brown.
Hey, but look, everything been good though. Like you know what I'm saying? Everything been straight. You know what I'm saying? Mental good, kids good. You know what I'm saying? Wife good, everything.
Yeah, I mean, no.
Where
have you been?
No. I'm just checking up. Like, you my dog. Like, I still got, you know what I'm saying? I got to check up. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Like family good, yeah.
Yeah.
Everything else, no.
Man, everything gonna click, bro. Chill, look. Everything gonna click, bro. Trust me.
Shit show.
Hey, bro. Hey, bro. No, you got a chat cracking up, bro.
Awesome. How you been? Yeah, I've been, struggling, brother.
Yeah, I don't even know what they said there. And he didn't stop there. He then said anyone who has him on their fantasy team should go ahead and drop him. Here he is.
I promise you, you might get 200. And I ain't even trolling.
Hey. If you got me on fantasy, man, get rid of me.
Like, why is that so funny? Anyway, Nick Sirianni, he's had enough. I don't blame him. Sirianni has had enough. He's had enough A.J. Brown. He's had enough. Here's Nick Sirianni, the head coach, right now.
When you say it was kind of business as usual with AJ, I mean, his latest comments, made it seem like it's not business as usual. Like, how do you kind of reconcile that with him?
Yeah, guys, I'm close to being done answering these questions with this. Like, he's working hard, and he is a big part of this game plan, and will be a big part of the game plan going forward. And he's working like crazy when he's here, and I'm excited to have him.
There you go. Right? There you go. Yeah. All right. Listen to this. The Eagles are 7-2 this year. They appear well on their way to another NFC East title and are once again widely viewed as legitimate Super Bowl contenders. But that's not good enough for Brown. He got to get his, man. I sound like every white host in America. Now, he isn't the only diva athlete complaining these days. Draymond Green is continuing his typical antics. The self-appointed team therapist called out his own guys in the media like he's Phil Jackson and Pat Riley rolled into one. Maybe, just maybe. How about you get your own house in order before handing out life lessons? Draymond Green and life lessons. Really funny. Green didn't specifically say Jonathan Kuminaga's name, but many NBA analysts believe the finger was being pointed at Kuminaga when he criticized certain Warrior players for having personal agendas and lacking commitment to winning. Really? I mean, Draymond Green's the guy whose personal agenda is to make it about me, I, get on podcast, be the next Charles Barkley. I mean, he's the next guy. That's what he's trying to do with his antics. It certainly isn't with his play. His play's been horseshit for years. But as always happens, and I've talked about many times on this show, many times, the deflecting is unbelievable. It's what I am doing deflecting to you. That's the deal. Let's have a look here.
What do you think is the biggest difference between the way you ended last season once Jimmy got here and what's going on right now?
I think everybody was committed to winning and doing that any way possible. And right now, it doesn't feel that way.
I mean, is it personal agenda type stuff, or like, I guess how would you kind of?
I think everyone has a personal agenda in this league, but you have to make this personal agenda work in the team confines. And if it doesn't work, then you kind of got to get rid of your agenda, or eventually the agenda is the cause of someone getting rid of you. And so, I think you don't want a team with no personal agendas, because a goal is an agenda, And so you got to have some type of personal agenda. But like I say, you got your personal agenda must fit into the confines of the team.
He's not wrong about that. It took exactly 12 games. Mark Harris had outkicked 12 games into the regular season for Draymond Green to send a message to his Golden State Warrior teammates through the media. Remember, the Pacers are banged up. They got about half a team, and the only win they have this year is against who? The Golden State Warriors. Shortly after a 126-102 loss to the OKC Thunder on Tuesday, their fifth loss in the last 7 games, Green questioned whether his teammates were committed to winning. He made these comments fresh off. Listen to this. Do as I say, not as I do, where he scored a total of 6 points, 7 turnovers, was -7 plus-minus. He was a woeful -22 during his 22 minutes of action against the Thunder on Tuesday, but well, by no means is Green expected to score 20 per game and suddenly return to be the lockdown fender he was, but calling out your teammates after you've put out back-to-back stinkers yourself doesn't feel like the most opportune time to do so. I am a big Draymond Green fan, or I was. His antics have kind of wore on me. But the truth of the matter is Draymond Green is a shell of the player. And Draymond Green, like a lot of guys, I mean, look, I always said if Derek Jeter was a shortstop of the Kansas City Royals, people would know Derek Jeter was a good player, but he wouldn't be Derek Jeter. If you put Draymond Green where he should have been, drafted by the Pacers back in the day, by the way, I begged for that. This is in hindsight. The Pacers drafted Miles Plumlee, not Mason Plumlee, Miles Plumlee. Had they done the right thing, Andrew Green had been on the Pacers, he may have a championship. I don't know. They've been okay. But Green was lucky. He got birthed into the right area code, and that area code was the Golden State Warriors of Steph Curry, Klay Thompson. And he fit right in. Now he's on the downside, and he's trying to be a leader, and good for him. And he's right. If you want to say people don't have personal agendas in basketball, you're out of your mind. That's why they keep stats. Stats are for losers, you say. Well, stats are also for players and for money and for negotiation. They don't have a very good team. Steph Curry is older. Klay Thompson is gone. The new guys have not fit in. The new guys aren't of the character of Klay Thompson. Klay Thompson's dad, you've met him many times on here, Michael Thompson. Well, his dad was the first pick in the NBA draft. His dad was an NBA champion. His dad is considered one of the all-time great guys in the NBA. That's the basis by which Klay Thompson got to see basketball, got to see life, got to see how to act being portrayed. Pretty good. Perfect fit because Curry was the same thing. Dad Dell, terrific player. Dad Dell, actually, I got in trouble because Knight asked me after the 1984 Olympics in front of our basketball team my senior year, who are the best shooters at the Olympics? I said, Chris Mullin, Del Curry, Steve Alford. He went nuts on me. Took Curry out, put in Sam Perkins. I said, that's fine. You put in whoever you want. But the truth of the matter is, boom, it was Del Curry. Again, a father raising a son on how to be a professional. Nobody, and I mean this sincerely, nobody in the history of basketball benefited more from that than Draymond Green. And the reason I say that is Draymond Green got mad, when Draymond Green was supposed to lead the team in the absence of only one of those guys, Thompson, the team has faltered. When Green lost Curry, they had no shot. I mean, no shot. So there you go. There it is. Boom. But good for Draymond Green. At least he's fronting, yo. At least he's trying hard. He's trying to be a dude. All right. There you go. So, on the bright side, at least Green hasn't punched anybody this year. At least Green hasn't destroyed the fabric of a team this year. So there's that. Hey, enjoying the show? Of course you are. Right now, if you're watching this on YouTube, hit that subscribe button and hit that bell. The bell gives you notifications. The subscribe button keeps us going pretty good. You'll never miss any of the great content. It's simply by going to youtube.com/@don'tatme with Dan Dakich. Period. That's it. Feel free to argue with one another in the chat. We like it. We participate in it because we like angst. All right, the great Tom Luginbill. You see him, you know him, you love him all over ESPN. I'm going to get right to it because this is the debate raging right now. You've seen both teams. I respect your opinion more than any in college football. So let me ask you right now, who's better, Indiana or Ohio State?
I think right now Ohio State is slightly. And I'm really happy that the committee acknowledged what Indiana did the other day, because that was not easy. You can say what you want about Penn State, and that was one of the few times where Indiana got knocked around up front and had an answer. They could have folded their lawn chair, got in the fetal position, sucked their thumbs, and said they got us today. And instead, they answered the toll. They showed people something that I think anybody watching Indiana wondered if they had. I mean, that was an environment that was rare, that was special, and what they had to do was critical. With Ohio State, though, I think the defense has been at such an elite level, and quite honestly, and I understand we have really good players around the quarterback at Ohio State. I get that, but we're still not giving Julian Sain enough credit for what he's done, how he's played, his acknowledgement of his youth, his inexperience, and not trying to play outside himself. And in doing so, growing at a rate that's allowing him to move from a manager to a divvier of the football, get in control, run the whole entire show. So I'm going to give the slight edge right now to Ohio State. But I'll say this too, Dan. I think if Ohio State and Indiana play in the Big Ten championship game and Alabama and Texas A&M play in the SEC championship game, regardless of who the loser is, I still think they're the top four teams the following week in the final rankings.
Yeah, that's what I've told Indiana fans. I said they're not going to be second. If they win, they're going to be first. If they lose, third or fourth. That's
right.
Assuming they get to that championship game, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I believe that. I think the committee has really acknowledged that there is a separation between those four right now and everybody else. They have felt that way from the beginning, and I just can't imagine if you have those two conference championship games. You're talking about national championship caliber opponents facing off against each other before we ever play a college football playoff game. And wouldn't you want to make sure that if those are the best four, the loser of that game should not be punished, especially when they say now the weight of having to play a conference championship game is a metric that they're really kind of looking into heavily, which if you're Notre Dame, you're sitting there and you're going, well, thank God we don't got to play one of those.
Honest to God, you got 2 losses, and you got to play a conference championship game against Ohio State. Now, that could knock you out. I mean, is Notre Dame in? I mean, it looked like they were in. Notre Dame in good shape?
I think possibly they're in good shape. I was a little bit surprised where the committee put Miami in this week's rankings, because when you really peel back the layers, I don't know if you've seen what actually has to happen for Miami to even get into the ACC championship game. I mean, they have to have like 5 or 6 different scenarios play out. And so it's almost as if the committee looked at the ACC, who beat Notre Dame, and they looked at Miami and they said, okay, we have no idea who the champion's going to be, but we kind of think this is the best team. Okay, well, at some point you're going to have to answer for putting Miami in that position. My only beef with Miami, and I think, the Miami and Texas debate is a big one, because say what you want, Texas does have 2 top 10 wins on their resume. They've been playing their best football as of late. But I do think Notre Dame is a college football playoff caliber team, but they're not going to have to play a championship game.
Is the ACC's a mess? Is the Big 12 a mess as well? Excuse me. And more importantly, why? Can you explain to me why Michigan State, is it the ineligible player thing? Why Michigan State got games taken away and Michigan did not? I've had a lot of people ask me, and I'm assuming it's that old ineligible player thing as opposed to a broader coaches thing. Is that fairly accurate?
Yeah, I think so. And I think anytime we try to create any type of logical rationale for anything the NCAA does, we're just going to start chasing our tail. And it is odd. And I hate that it's hurt Jonathan Smith. What the heck did he have to do with it? He's having to vacate numbers. So I can't explain that one at all. It's lunacy. And you listen, the first question you asked, I think that the chaos in the ACC and the chaos in the Big 12 is beautiful. Look at the one possession games we're having. Look at the competitiveness top to bottom that we're having. I agree. And what I think is really interesting, and I'm not knocking the SEC here, but like when the SEC has one of those moments or one of those weekends, it's, see, anybody can beat anybody in that league. But if it happens in the Big 12 or the ACC, it's like, that league's garbage. None of their teams are any good. It's unbelievable how that narrative just swipes like windshield wipers. But the thing that's interesting about the ACC is they've created this for themselves. 2 weeks ago, just 2 short Saturdays ago, not only were they in line to have 1 college football playoff team, not just 2, but they were looking strongly at having 3 college football playoff teams. Fast forward 2 Saturdays, and they come off this past weekend, and now there's talk about if Duke wins the ACC with a 9-4 record, that the ACC champ may not even get in. Which, by the way, is possible. That can happen. Everybody always assumes, if you win your Power 4 conference, you're in. That's not how that works. And South Florida's sitting there, and they're just kind of doing their business and chomping at the bit. And I've had them twice, Dan. I'll tell you right now, South Florida's a handful, and that quarterback is a problem. He could play for anybody in America, and so they're kind of nipping at the heels there. And the Big 12 is the same thing. I said on Monday morning, I was doing a talk back, and I said, you can take all of the uniforms of the teams in the Big 12 and the ACC and switch them all, and then put 2 teams on the field over here and 2 teams on the field over there, and you wouldn't be able to tell if that was Utah and TCU, or if that was Louisville and Duke. That's how competitively balanced this thing is in those two conferences. And I love every second of it because I'm loving these one-possession games. I'm loving these overtime games. I'm loving this stuff going down to the wire. This has been one positive byproduct, by the way, Dan, of the transfer portal. All the negativity that we have and all of the nonsense that we have to deal with it. What it has done is it's dispersed talent. It's made everybody better across the board, which means you better be able to play well in the fourth quarter because that's the only way you're escaping.
It's funny. You mentioned that. I got an argument with one of our guys, Armando, about Daniel Jones. You mentioned the fourth quarter. Tom Moore, the legendary offensive coordinator for the Colts, told me one time, he goes, yeah, I don't give a rat's ass. He goes, the second half is where this is made. It's players, not plays. And, I don't care you fumbled twice in the first half. He's throwing darts late. And Fernando Mendoza, that's kind of what I said about him the other day. I don't know, man. But he shows up. We have a saying, big possums walk late. I don't know what it means, but we made it up. He walks late. And to your point, fourth quarter is also in a season too. The first quarter, first couple games. Virginia had a hell of a chance. I'll tell you a team that had a chance, and you can tell me I'm wrong, but Iowa's sitting there with 2 losses at home with the lead against Oregon, right? That's what's made this fun as hell.
In Iowa, they're the team that has played Indiana and Oregon the best outside of Penn State this past week at home. But what a drive for Fernando Mendoza. I mean, that thing was just flat out special. Yeah. Got people in his face.
Unbelievable.
Have you ever noticed that sometimes there's environments where you're watching at home, and I've been on both sides of it. I've been in this environment in the stadium, on the sideline, or in the booth, and then watching at home where the environment and the atmosphere actually drowns out the broadcast. I mean, that happened in Happy Valley last week. I mean, it drowned out the broadcast. So imagine having to play in it. That's what I think is so impressive. And by the way, we got to go back to Tom Moore for a second here, Dan, because he has, as I'm sure you know, one of the greatest quotes of all time. When they asked him, okay, well, who are you going to prepare for, if Peyton goes down?
Yeah.
And he goes,
oh, yeah.
If 18 goes down, we're effed. And we don't practice effed.
Right.
It's so true.
Right. It's so true.
It is. It's players.
I bring up Iowa. They end up losing, so now they're knocked out, all that. But we're sitting there. I'm in Phoenix playing golf, and we're getting ready to play. The game was on early, or we got done, I guess. And I'm watching, and I'm like, guys, this is Iowa's shot right here. And they're like, yeah, these guys are all football fans. And they're like, hell yeah. And so we're glued to the TV to see if for once Iowa – but to your point about making these one-score games great, that's why I personally love college football because and I hope they don't ruin it. I really do. Is there a team out there like Virginia? I'll use Virginia. They were considered to be around it, and then they lose. Memphis. Is there a team out there that is around it right now that is either you think this weekend, I haven't looked at the schedule, maybe you haven't, either going to jump up or really they could fall out of this whole thing? Anybody you're seeing like a Virginia did and like a Memphis did?
I don't know about some. I'll give you one that I think nobody's talking about that at the end, in 2 weeks' time right now, could sneak into the back end of the college football playoff, and that's USC. Because look at who USC has remaining. Nobody's talking about the Trojans in this deal. And then they get to go on the road to Eugene. They got Oregon. What if they finish 10-2, right? And they're sitting there in a position, and nobody's talking about them right now. That's why this month of November is like just absolutely so critical. To give you somebody that I think could go down, it's interesting, but it might be Virginia again because they've got to play Duke this week. And remember, Virginia was riding the lightning, man. They had 3 overtime wins. I think they had 4 last possession wins. When that bubble bursts, sometimes it's hard to get it back. You don't know if they're going to have their quarterback in Chandler Morris. And remember, all the talk about the ACC is Duke controls their own destiny to get the ACC championship game, regardless of what they did in non-conference. The loss to UConn, the loss to Tulane, the loss to Illinois. in the ACC. So Virginia better be careful. It doesn't happen twice in 2 weeks.
I'm going to doing some stuff at the Indiana-Wisconsin game, and all of a sudden I see Wisconsin beats Washington. I'm like, oh, crap. Again, Tom, I've told you this many times. I don't know, PTSD. I don't, HTPSD, Hoosier, whatever syndrome. Guys my age, Tom, are waiting for this bubble to burst. And I'm like, well, Wisconsin's got a crap offense.
Yeah.
Guys on the other side of it, there's the other side too. Guys that were longtime USC fans are waiting for this bubble to blow up like you're talking about, right? There's two sides of this thing.
Yeah, there's no question. And I'll tell you one other interesting storyline that a lot of people aren't talking about either is what the Pitt Panthers could do to the college football playoff. So Pitt, winners of 5 in a row with a true freshman quarterback, by the way. Their last 3 games are Notre Dame, Miami, and Georgia Tech. Now think about the ramifications of all 3 of those teams. Now, I don't know what's going to happen with Pitt and Notre Dame this week. Do I think Pitt's the better team? No. All right. Has Pitt really beaten anybody? No. But they've won 5 in a row with a freshman quarterback, and they've got confidence, and they got mojo, and they get Notre Dame at home. And then as we talked about what happens with the ACC championship, they have a chance to derail Tech. They have a chance to derail Miami. Unbelievable what could happen just with Pitt and their opponents alone over the next 3 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, if they win those 3 weeks, there's no question where they're going to be. I mean, that solves the ACC's problem, does it not?
Yeah, it solves its ACC problem. I don't know if it gives them – it would put the best team or the team that they would want in the tournament. I think if in a perfect ACC world, they want Georgia Tech in the playoff.
Oh,
because
really?
Georgia Tech offensively presents the most problems for anybody that they would get matched up against in the seeding. That would give the league the best chance to probably have a viable football team that's the most difficult to defend. But you still got SMU looming out there, right? We've already seen where the committee put Miami right now, and I don't even know how they're going to get in the ACC championship game. So, oh man, this thing's going to be fun.
It always is. It's like I always say in basketball, it's going to play itself out, and I assume the same thing's going to happen here in football. The football gods will and usually it ends up with Notre Dame in a pretty good spot. So we'll see, man.
Yeah.
Oh, Tom, you're great, man. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for joining. It's good stuff. Great stuff.
You bet, brother.
Always.
Good to see you, man.
There he lugoes. Love talking to Tom Luginbill, man. Tom Luginbill knows more. He's like Tim Legler. Finally the NBA folks figured out Tim Legler's great at what he does. Great. And they made him on their number 1 team. At some point, ESPN is going to do that. I love the stinger. It's the Damn Awards. It's Hollywood right here in Indianapolis. Hey, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. The first award for the evening, Studs of the Week. College basketball has been infiltrated by great performances by freshmen. A lot of times freshmen come into college basketball and they're considered great. Let's be honest. Everybody's considered great. Now, I saw a kid named Derek Tarver Jr. is the number 1 rated 4th grader in America. That's what we're doing in college basketball. Derek Tarver Sr., by the way, I coached against at Akron. He can put the ball in the bucket. Anyway, college basketball freshmen are kicking ass. It all started early in the season with Arizona. Arizona's Coy Pete dropped 30-5 in their opener. First Big 12 player to do that ever in their debut. But we've seen Mikel Brown Jr. at Louisville I thought dominated the game against Kentucky. I thought he was the best player on the court. Think about that. $22 million roster is what Kentucky has, and this kid at Louisville, who I'm sure is getting paid a pretty penny, he's a good player out of high school, all that kind of stuff, was the best player on the court. Caleb Wilson was supposed to be the guy behind the guy, Darren Peterson of Kansas, when Kansas played North Carolina. Well, guess what? The star of stars, as Dick Vitale used to say, was Caleb Wilson. Totally outplayed his McDonald's All-American brother, Darren Peterson. And what I liked about Wilson was after the game, he said, yeah, I played in the McDonald's game with Darren Peterson. He was my point guard. He didn't give me the ball. So I wanted to, basically, he said, I wanted to kick his ass. That's Michael Jordan type chip on shoulder. I don't know how to say this, kid. AJ Nonstop, whatever, of BYU got paid a ton of money, a ton of green to go to BYU. Why else would he go to BYU, right? He got paid a ton of green, and next thing you know, guess what? Guess what? He's been a superstar for BYU. Nicholas Avadalis of Virginia Tech, all he's done is resurrected this program. The house, Castle Coliseum that Seth Greenberg built will be rocking. This kid, according to Kyle Guy, former legend at Virginia, this kid was supposed to go to Virginia, but he didn't. He ended up at their rival, the Hokies, Virginia Tech, and he's been outstanding. And the aforementioned Coy Pete has been nothing short of sensational. Losers of the week, I got to tell you, Emmanuel Clase, Luis Ortiz, the two pitchers for the Cleveland Indians. I'm going to say Indians. I don't care if you get mad at it. I'm not Amon-Ra St. Brown. I ain't apologizing. Suck it, people. Well, these two idiots over $12,000, at least that's what's been reported, over $12,000 and getting their buddies $400,000. One lost a $38 million contract, and the other was making $800,000, making his way into contracts like that. And now they're both suspended. Now they're both indicted. Now they're both charged, and they're both going to face 65 years of jail time. I don't think they'll get that. But having said that, these two are the dumbest athletes since Terry Rozier. And it's hard to be dumber than scary Terry Rozier. Craziest story per the New York Post, Contender, the largest male great white shark ever recorded in the Atlantic, is on the move once again. Contender, an adult male white shark was tagged by OCE Reach in January off the Florida-Georgia coastline at a whopping, listen to this, 1,653 pounds, 13 feet long. Contender is estimated to be about 32 years old. That's crazy. Man, we showed you a shark yesterday on What the Hell Wednesday that jumped into a fishing boat. 1,600-pound shark. Wonder how many people, what would you think the over-under? Hey, Davey, 1,600-pound shark, been in those waters 30-some years. What do you think the over-under would be on amount of people or appendages that this shark has chewed off? Maybe he doesn't eat people. Would you say over a half of one? Would you make the number at a half and say over or under?
Nah, I would definitely go under here, Dan. It's one of those things. Great white sharks, but the attacks are super rare. I know it's scary.
Okay.
You know, Jaws changed the way people view sharks in general, but yeah, I'm definitely taking the under there.
All right, never eaten a person.
I would go that. I would go that route. Yeah.
All right. That's why I brought you in, because I knew you'd know the science of it. I know the emotions of it, reading and watching Jaws. So, you know, but you would know the science. So there you go. All right.
Yeah, don't at me animal expert. I'm going to add that to the title.
Yeah. I mean, you wear all hats, even though you got great hair. What the hell?
That's a good point by you.
Craziest, best story of the week. Best story of the week is Pat McAfee. Pat McAfee interviewing Trump, and the haters and the losers, of which there were many, getting upset. Pat yesterday told him, look, F off. That's as simple as he could make it. You don't like it? Most of you don't know whether a football is blown up or stuffed. And if you don't like me interviewing the sitting president of the United States on Veterans Day in front of the troops, F off. Period. That's it. And he ain't wrong. Any talk, I've said this before, I'll say this again, you know, regardless if you're a Republican or Democrat, if Clinton's people asked to come on, we would do it. If Trump's people asked to come on, we would do it. Younger Bush asked to come on, we would do it. Obama's people asked to come on. I got a long text from Pat basically saying he's trying to get Obama as well. We would do it. And we would do it unapologetically. I mean, we wouldn't apologize for jack squat. Other craziest story of the week is Awful Announcing quoted our show. yet they called it Dan Dakich Unfiltered. Apparently, there is some discrepancy on our YouTube channel. So I called them out. Ben Axelrod is one of the biggest pussies in writing, and Benny Koo is just a little fat guy, and awful announcing, as Clay Travis adroitly called it, just a liberal rag. They got all upset. Ben didn't. He was pretty nice about it. But little fat Benny Koo, the editor of Awful Announcing, he doesn't like it. So he showed a screenshot of our page where it says Dan Dakich Unfiltered, but you could clearly see the name of the show. And I got attacked. I got attacked by the little guys. I got attacked by guys like Kendall Baker of Yahoo. I'm used to being attacked. Damn it. I am used to being attacked by, well, police chiefs at Iowa saying, hey, anybody in Carver Hawkeye with a gun, shoot Dakich in the head. I'm not used to at all, I'm not used to little bald 20-year-olds attacking me. I'm used to big old dudes on the streets of Louisville after the Kentucky-Louisville game haggering me to the point where I finally turned around with my wife and my buddy Bart and Scott there and said, all right, now I'm going to kick your ass. And they're like, no. That's what I'm used to. I'm not used to some guy named Kendall Baker coming at me about hair jokes. Sheesh, I've really lost the step. I really have. I need to get back to the days where the threats are real, not from little bald-headed guys that write for Yahoo Sports. Come on, people. Bring it stronger. Bring it tougher. Give me the best stuff you got. Not little bullshit stuff about needing hair plugs. Of course I need hair plugs. But I'm not that vain. I'm just not. Tough love in Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love. Dave Dombrowski, who's been around it. Dave Dombrowski has been a president of baseball operations, a general manager for a long, long time. He made some headlines when he spoke about Bryce Harper's performance this past season. The Phillies were ousted by the Dodgers in the NL Division Series in October. Dombrowski openly wondered if Harper could return to the best version of himself. He had a good season in 2025, but it wasn't close to a career year, and he went 3 for 15 in the postseason. Here's what Dombrowski had to say. You judge for yourself. Is this really a slight? He's still a quality player. He's an all-star quality player, Dombrowski talking about Harper. He didn't have an elite season like he's had in the past. I guess we'll only find out if he becomes a leader, continues to be good. I don't know if that's any kind of slight. I mean, people make a big deal about anything. Are you not allowed to say things like that as the boss? I don't know. Like, I would figure that to be pretty calm. Now, I would think that, as you would expect, Bryce Harper had to react to him because, well, I don't know. He didn't take too kindly to those words. It's disappointing to hear me being questioned about my contribution to the team. Nobody said anything about your contribution to the team. They stated facts, son. You were a good player, all-star player, but you weren't one of the best in the league. It just really hurt by that notion because I love Philly so much. Are you insane? This is the world that I don't live in. This is the world that you all live in. I don't want anybody to know that I was, quote, hurt by comments. That makes me a pussy. That makes me a victim. And there's a lot of things I am or aren't, including being the most handsome man in America and being half blind in one eye, which is getting better. But a victim ain't it. A pussy ain't it. Harper's in the middle of $330 million contract signed before the 19 season with the Phillies. He finished in sixth in the MVP voting after winning the award in 2021. 24, he finished sixth. Should this be cause for concern for Phillies? Or is Harper just being extra dramatic? Of course he's being extra dramatic. I mean, walk like a damn man. Wait a second. The GM said, I'm what? Not elite? I'm going to work. I'm not going to get hurt by I'm hurt. What does it mean to be hurt by these words? Pissed off by the words? It really pissed me off. That guy's never played. Screw him. That kind of thing. Or shut up and say, hey, what are you going to do? And then go to work. And then become elite. That's what real guys do. Harper is a real guy, don't get me wrong, but this is soft. We don't need this in our world. Staying on Harper, Alan Walsh is reporting that this is interesting, the heated exchange between Major League Baseball Commissioner Rob Manfred and Harper was much worse than was initially told. Remember, Manfred came in and Harper just ripped his ass about a variety of things, as we're finding out now, not just money, but a lot of different things. Here, let's go to the tape here. Alex Cole.
Leading into the need for a salary cap. And Bryce Harper is a very strong union guy. And he's a leading voice in the clubhouse. He's watching Manfred from people who were in the room who shared this with me. He's watching Manfred, and finally, when the conversation touched on salary caps, Bryce Harper said, he stood up and he interrupted Manfred's address to the players. And this was widely reported as well. I'm not spilling any secrets here. If you're going to stand up here and talk about a salary cap in my clubhouse directly to the commissioner in front of the entire team, get the fuck out of here. Manfred was stunned, but responded, I am not getting the fuck out of here. I'm going to continue talking and saying what I'm saying. Manfred continued on for a little bit, and then he was done. This is alleged to what was said next. Harper and a few other players were now in a discussion afterwards with Manfred and some of Manfred's staff, including, I believe, the deputy commissioner, who was also there. And in the course of this conversation, which also got heated, someone with Manfred, not Manfred, but somebody with him, like a deputy commissioner, said to Harper, don't ever say that again to the commissioner. Don't ever disrespect him again publicly like that. That's how people end up in a ditch. And that was never reported.
Woo!
So,
Woo! Woo! That's how people end up in a ditch. Wow, really? You end up in a ditch by arguing with the commissioner of baseball? Let me ask you a question. Is there a history here? Is that a reference to somebody? We might have to go back and look. Who in baseball has disappeared unexpectedly? Who, Shers? Who has disappeared? Is he in a ditch? And did he argue with Bowie Kuhn, Paul Giamatti, Peter Uberoth? Huh? That's an interesting statement right there. I get. We'll get on that and we'll see. Has anybody in baseball, whether it is a manager, a coach, a player, clubhouse guy, have they disappeared and never to be found or found in a ditch? Interesting. Hey, let's woke-a-dope it. Let's do this. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Yeah, that's no kidding. Right-wing extremist in 2025. Hey, no families, no playing with your kids, no house, no mortgage paid off. 2025, that's right-wing. That's right-wing. You know, you go back and you look at it, it's pretty amazing. I have. Bill Clinton would absolutely be a Republican right now. Hell, damn near every president ever. When it comes to immigration, when it comes to the police, when it comes to, whatever, they would be all Republican. But now being married with a kid, playing with your kid, being a good father, and, of course, a pregnant wife with a house and a yard, boy, that's right wing. You're an extremist. Whew. Next. Nancy Pelosi being sworn in her first term. Hey, there's dirt. There's Pelosi. Who's older? I tell you, who made more money, 17,000% on her stock trades over the course of her time. That's amazing. I mean, let's be honest, people. There's some stuff going on there. Nobody wants to dig into it, but I don't know why not. Again, if we're mad at Major League Baseball, basketball, football players doing insider knowledge or insider trading or giving away information to buddies, why isn't this a crime? Why isn't she facing 65 years? Maybe there's nothing there. Maybe she's just better than anybody has ever been in the history of the world at stock trades. Yeah, I don't know. Next. I'm a tolerant liberal. Agree with me or else. You racist, sexist, homophobic, Islamophobic, xenophobic, inbred, redneck, Bible-thumping, NASCAR-loving, gun-toting, American-loving bigots. That's me. I am all of those things. Hey, last thing, would you? Hey, join us tomorrow. We're going to be all over Indiana University, 9:30. I don't know. It's going to be posted probably around 1 o'clock. It's going to be a weird day. We're going to have a tour. I'm going to give a tour of Assembly Hall. I'm going to tell you what happened, where, when, and how. Nobody knows Indiana basketball better than me. And then we're going to head over to the Upstairs Pub, America's greatest sports bar, and do my noon show. And the best part about it is you got to understand, Indiana is a really, really, really liberal campus, like an insanely liberal campus. And frankly, they're a little bit mad at me. You know, they're mad at me because I work at Outkick. My buddy owns the Upstairs Pub. His name is Steve Engel. So here are some of the comments about me coming to the Upstairs Pub. Zach says, we will not be there. Troy says, guys, what are you doing? Jacob Swartz says, fuck Dan Dakich. Don't let him in the building. Jacob, I say no. And you can't make me have sex with you. Never, ever, ever. Big fat football player whose big fat wife, Greg Farrell, came at me. Seeing comments, guess I'm not the only one. Love you, Upstairs Pub. But dude has been trashing us and our kids for years. Now wants a seat on the bus. Sorry, no seats. Well, let's be honest. I am the bus. I am the bus driver. I am the walrus. They did the same thing for a local radio host. Got about 2,000 views. You do it for me, you get about 60,000 views. Hoff says Dakich is awful. Cancel this. Dakich doesn't drink mystery beers. Had to make sure, Ron said, that this wasn't April Fool's. Terry Shabel, who probably tried to date me back in the day, she looks of that age, says, this isn't a great decision. Craig Gins, an adult male with a penis, says, ew, really? Yes, really. Upstairs Pub is a great spot, and we're going to have a blast. Look, Nick Yeoman, big fat guy that does racing here in Indiana. I'm just here for the comments, and they haven't disappointed. You know, we always say this, if you don't have enemies, you ain't doing nothing. And we got a lot of Twitter trolls. And you all are welcome. Haters are welcome tomorrow because we're going to have a blast. We got Isaiah coming up. We got Scott Dolson coming up. It is absolutely wonderful. And we thank you because it's going to be a massive crowd. Some of you might get mad. Suck it. See you tomorrow. Upstairs Pub starting at noon. Right there, Kirkwood in Bloomington.